Hey, what's up you guys? It's your girl Adriana back with another video. If you're new here, hi, welcome. I'm Adriana. So for today's video, as you guys can probably already tell by the title, we are going to be talking about how to be confident through the hate. I recently went through a situation with a circle that I considered very close to me with a particular individual in this circle. I will not be naming names throughout this video, but I recently just went through an experience that I want to share with you guys so you guys kind of know and understand what goes on behind the scenes, not only in the industry, but it can happen with any type of relationship, whether it's like boyfriend and girlfriend, friendship, whatever the case may be. These are things that happened and how we just breeze on by it. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So the first point that I kind of want to bring up is what happened prior to me finding out about this whole situation. Basically, to just sum it up, hate and shade was already being thrown months, and I mean months prior to this situation happening. This is a circle that I was seeing continuously, not on a daily basis, but pretty often. So whether it was like sessioning together, taking dance classes together, a lot of us teach classes in the same circle, supporting one another. It's just always seeing each other, or we also even had like a group chat, so stuff was being said on there too. It was just always that circle, that clique, you know what I mean? So my second point bringing into this is basically how I ended up finding out. There was another girl in the same circle that I was seeing a little bit more often than everyone else, more so because she lives in my area and everyone else in the circle kind of lives a little bit like way further out. I want to say like an hour away. So this particular individual I was seeing a lot more often just because she's in the same area as I am. I started feeling some type of energy and vibe. I started reading certain movements, but I wasn't sure if it was actually something or if it was just me trying to make something out of nothing. You know what I mean? So came a day that I met up with one of the girls in the circle, the one that I tell you that lives in my area, kind of expressed to her my concerns and what I was feeling and like what I've kind of just been noticing, right? Just kind of like venting out to her. She was hearing me out and whatnot, and kind of like try to giving me advice on how to take the situation or what it could possibly be, whatever the case, just not reading into it too much. So basically, because of that, nothing was really being connected. I kind of just like let it pass over my head, right? There came a point where it was like as time was going on, I just like felt the energy like stronger, like it was like gravitating, if that makes sense. So I just kept feeling it stronger. So I was like, no, like there's definitely something going on. There was another day that I ended up meeting up with that same individual and I brought it up to her again. I was telling her my concerns and telling her like, yo, like I don't know if it's just me tripping, but like I swear like there's just this type of energy that I feel. I'm seeing things. I'm just like observing, like when we all are with one another and I'm just like observing and seeing how everyone acts, and it's like there's something that's not sitting with me right. She's kind of in a position where it's also tough because, again, we are a group, a circle, so there's multiple of us in this. So it's like somebody having to be put in the middle of that isn't fair, and they really shouldn't have to, right? So like basically the position she was in was kind of like, because she was seeing the group a lot too, and then like she was seeing me a lot too, but like separately, so not together. Makes sense? So she was just kind of in the middle. What had happened was that came one day, she ended up expressing something that she heard and that she saw and whatever the case. She didn't really go too much into detail about it, but she did kind of like in a sense give me a heads up. So when she told me that, it kind of like lit a bulb in my head because I was like, oh, I started connecting the dots with what I've been seeing and what this individual was telling me. So I was like, wow, okay, so there really is something going on, right? Anyways, basically, I still didn't read into it because if it was like an issue that somebody in the circle had with me, they could have brought it to me because I'm still technically unaware of what the issue is or what's going on. I just know and feel the energy, but I'm unaware of what's going on. I got to the point where I really, really got pissed off because then I started noticing that posts were being made and I was being blocked from like stories so that I couldn't read or see the stories that they were making about me. This is where like the true friend comes in a sense, because somebody ended up stepping in and kind of letting me know what was going on. And so it was kind of like those posts that are like the non-direct but direct. So it's like they were directed towards me but not coming to me directly. They're just making it like public to everyone else but blocking me and not talking to me about it. right? Already raises your eyebrow. It already raises my eyebrow. So usually in situations like this, or I would also say like the old me back when I was a lot younger and dumber, the way I would initially react to this would be in a way where I don't think about consequences and kind of just talking out of emotion instead of like thinking logically about the situation. So this is kind of where like the tough part kind of came in. After seeing and hearing about the posts being made and the stuff that was being said behind my back, it pissed me off. Of course, it would piss anybody off, especially if there's posts being made. Like, that's just taking it too far. That's just me personally. That's just how I feel. I just think it's unnecessary to be bringing the world into the situation instead of just bringing it directly to the person. You know what I mean? So at this point, I was just pissed. I was like beyond pissed. What I ended up doing was hitting the individual up who I was reading the energy from. I ended up hitting her up. I texted her and, told her, hey, I've been noticing this, and that. I feel some type of energy, and I don't know if it's something that I did wrong, but if there is something I did wrong, like, I think we need to talk and have a conversation. Let me know. Let's figure this shit out. Let's just get the air cleared. Right? Pretty straightforward and simple. I ended up hopping on a call with her, and she basically expressed her concerns to me. And when I tell you, it was like a whole bunch of concerns. Mind you, this is dance related. So like this is all kind of catered towards dance with this situation in particular. Basically, yeah, she ended up expressing her concerns about what she was feeling, and I was hearing her out, and some of the things that she was saying, like, I understood like where she was coming from, but it was more so that like she didn't really give me the opportunity to explain what was happening, why it was happening, instead of just jumping to an assumption. Everything that she was saying, I heard her out. Then it was my turn to talk. And then when I was telling her, whatever was coming from my side, it was just always like a but, or like, oh, well, I didn't know. And it's like, well, yeah, you didn't ask. So it's like, if you don't ask, you're going to jump to an assumption that may or may not be true. So this is where things started to get a little bit more heated, because as this conversation kept going on and on, shit was being said where it was getting disrespectful, where it was like disrespecting like what I do, my craft, how I do things, whatever the case. And a lot of the points that this individual was bringing up just made absolutely no sense, because especially being in the industry in general, there's a lot of things that people are going to do similarly, but in different ways, in their own ways, or some of it just didn't even make sense, to be quite honest with you. It just didn't make any fucking sense. What was kind of like the cherry on top of this phone call is that I ended up finding out that this buildup, all of this shit that she brought up, so it like started with something small and it ended up building up into bigger and bigger, which is why the conversation kept getting like more heated as it was going. I ended up finding out that this had been happening for months. She had been feeling this way for months, okay? Mind you, I'm seeing these people pretty often. I have been backstabbed. Talking shit has been happening behind my back instead of just coming to me directly. Like, this is just all buildup, and that's what happens when you bottle something up and don't talk about it or don't come to the person to find a solution. You're going to explode, and that's exactly what happened. Since things were getting said about me, it obviously made me act out in a way. Sorry, that was my computer. But because things were being said, it kind of made me act out of my own character and say things that I probably shouldn't have, but my buttons were pushed, and there's only so much like a person can take. That was kind of like how the phone call went, just the phone call. So moving forward from that, I don't want to say it ended like on a good note. It was just a phone call that kind of ended on like on the edge, like kind of like I don't know type thing. So I ended up taking a dance class, and I kind of had like a breakdown throughout like my class, because it was really like mentally fucking me up, because these were people I considered close friends. She was a particular that I considered a close friend, and it just kind of fucked up the whole shit, because now there's other people involved in the situation, because they're just, part of the circle, whether they sat there and listened to the shit that was being said about me and didn't want to say nothing, or whatever the case. Point is, it's just a circle. So there's more people involved in it and that have to do with it. And it's like, I'm the only one that kind of just didn't know what the fuck was going on. You know what I mean? So I was kind of like an outcast. I ended up coming to the realization that I just didn't want this person in my life anymore. I just didn't want anything to do with this person. So basically what I ended up doing was sending her this one last message, kind of explaining that I understand where she was coming from and that I heard her out. And, you know, I told her what I didn't appreciate and how I felt about things. I even told her after sending the message that I was going to end up blocking her and removing her from anything that I do have, because I don't want to see anything that she is doing, posting. I don't want her to be able to see what I'm doing, posting, whatever the case. So she just has nothing to say, you know, to avoid any future situation. Just overall, the situation just kept escalating and getting worse, which is why it was just best to, you know, take that route. The whole day I was kind of a wreck because, like I said, it mentally fucked me up. I told myself that I was going to forgive her. Even though the forgiveness wasn't asked for, I forgave her for what she did, what she said. I just forgave her. I forgave the situation overall. I've also just been telling myself that you don't want to put your energy towards the negativity or people who don't support you, because it's not going to bring you anything good, or it's not going to take you anywhere. At the end of the day, I ended up choosing what was best for me and what I wanted to do, and that was removing her and blocking her, not speaking to her anymore, and just removing her out of my life. My message to all of you guys overall, and the moral of the story, is that this is something that you're going to deal with on an everyday basis. It's just a part of life. It could happen in any type of situation. You're always going to get people in life that don't want to see you succeed, and those are the people that you want to keep away and not put energy towards, because that is basically what happened to me. There are people I considered close friends, especially this particular girl, and this is what the situation ended up turning out to be. So do not let people drag you down, try to tear you down, tear what you're doing down, try to tear your craft down. Do not let people do that. You have to keep your head up high and stick to the positivity. And that is what I've been doing since the situation has happened. And to be quite honest with you, there has been a lot of great things that have came out of the situation. So everything happens for a reason, and it was a blessing in disguise, and I'm glad it happened like now rather than later. Stay positive, keep your circle small, and be careful with who you trust out there, because realistically, you can't be trusting nobody out in this world. And the reason I'm sharing this story with you guys is to kind of like sprinkle some positivity wherever I can. And hopefully this helps you guys with just any life situation that comes along. You always have to remember to put yourself first. Always, always, always. And trust no one, because people really start to show their true colors once they start seeing you succeed and try to push you down. So trust no one. Just always remember to stay positive and let the haters be haters, because they end up becoming your biggest supporters and your biggest fans. This was definitely an experience, but at the end of the day, I'm still here. I decided to put my energy elsewhere, and a lot of great things have been coming out of that because I've been deciding to put my energy somewhere else where, you know, it's going to benefit me. Let me tell you something. We're here to succeed, and we're here to do what we want to do, and don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. If you made it this far in the video, give yourself a round of applause, a little kudos. Overall, this brings us to the end of our video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and attending my TED Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this could help on how to handle situations that do come about similarly like this. I'll see you guys for the next one.